Box, where we decode Zoho Books one question at a time. In part 1, Jerry and I walked through the complete sales cycle in Zoho Books, but today we are shifting the focus to the other side of the ledger, the spending side of the business. Because the revenue is exciting, managing costs properly is what actually keeps a business running. And how are you doing, Jerry, Mr. Jerry? So, Jerry, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. What about you, Deepti?
I'm doing good. So, if the sales side is all about managing customers and incoming money, where does the journey begin when we talk about managing expenses and outgoing money?
That's actually a great way to frame it, Deepti. So, on the expense side, if you see, everything starts with the vendor. They are the seeds. So vendors are simply the people or companies your businesses buys from actually. So the suppliers, service providers, contractors, landlords, software companies also, and so on. Other examples. So think about any business for a moment. And a manufacturing company buys the raw materials, and a marketing agency buys a software subscription. A retail store buys an inventory. So all of these are purchases involve vendors.
Okay, so this vendor thing is not just for product based, even for the service it's going to be called as vendor.
Yes. So in Zoho Books, the first step is usually creating the vendor record. So this record stores all the important informations about the suppliers, things like their company details, names, contact details, payment terms, tax details, the GST details, and preferred currency if you are dealing with internationally. So once that vendor exists in the system, Zoho Book let you track every transaction you have with them. So this makes it much easier to see how much you have purchased from a vendor over the time. And how much you owe them, and whether the payments are overdue or completely paid.
So to be precise, these vendors are basically like the mirror image of customers, right?
Kind of, yes.
So customers give us revenue and vendors represent your costs in Zoho Books.
Yeah, so just like the sales cycle has a structured flow, the purchasing side also follows a structured process. It's basically typically like a purchase order. So often called as a PO. The purchase order is basically your formal commitment to buy something from a vendor and at an agreed price between both. Think of it as a document that says, here is what we want to buy, and here is the quantity, and here is the price, and here is what is the expected delivery times. Let's consider an example. Imagine a business is ordering 100 laptops, maybe for example our organization itself, from a supplier. Instead of just sending an email or making a phone call, they create a purchase order in the Zoho Books. That's the PO. That PO clearly states the all information which we need, like item details, quantities, delivery expectations, and the overall cost. This is extremely important if you see, because it creates accountability. Both the buyers and the vendors know exactly what was agreed upon. So
the PO, the purchase order you're mentioning, is created even before the goods or service is delivered, right?
Precisely. So it's a pre-purchase document. So once the vendor actually delivers the goods or complete the service, the next step is to convert the purchase order into a bill. This bill is documented. That actually tells you, yes, the vendor has delivered what we ordered and now we owe them the money. So it's stage 2. So this bill will include the amount due, the payment terms, and the due date. If you consider an example for that also, if your vendor gives you a total net 30 terms, it means you have 30 days to pay the bill. So now Zoho Books will track the liability and remind you that this payment is pending. That's how the process will go.
So Jerry, this time I came a little bit prepared. So, and while going through Zoho Books, I noticed something interesting. So the system mentions both expenses and bills. And for someone like me, it is very easy to mix them up. So what exactly is the difference?
That's actually a pretty common question, and it's really important distraction also. So an expense is something you have already paid for, A bill is something that you still need to be paid. So that's the simplest way to do it. And let me do one thing. Let me give another example for this scenario also. Imagine you go out and buy office stationeries and you pay immediately using your company's card. Since the payment is already completed, you simply record that as an expense. Okay. But suppose you are an internet service provider. Okay, they send you an invoice at the end of the month and ask you to pay within 15 days. In that case, your record is going to be mentioned as bill because the payment hasn't happened yet. You understand the difference happening, right? So Zoho Books keeps these two flows separate, so you can clearly see what has already been paid and what is still outstanding.
Okay, that does make more sense.
Yeah.
So it also sounds like something business deals with consistently, like recurring costs like rent, internet, or any software subscriptions.
Yep, exactly, what is it? So, and this is where Zoho Books really shines, because instead of manually entering the same bill every single month, you can set up a recurring bill or a recurring expense. And let's say your office pays rents in case, okay, in the same amount every month. You can actually configure Zoho Book to automatically generate the bill on maybe the first month or the end of the month, for each month accordingly. So the same applies to the SaaS tools also, maintenance contracts maybe, or subscription services. This automation actually saves up a lot of time and reduces the chance of forgetting the important information when you create the next time.
Okay, so we pretty much covered all the basic stuff.
Okay.
So now let's move to something that makes most of the business owners nervous. So I heard this bank reconciliation, and the very next second the word reconciliation comes, I can see most of the business owners getting panicked.
Of course, yeah.
So how does Zoho Books make this reconciliation easier?
Okay, so the fear actually comes from doing the reconciliation manually, if I say, as per the experience which I know. So in older accounting systems, people had to compare spreadsheets with the bank statement. Line by line. That is even more painful. So yeah, Zoho Books simplifies this process a really good way. So the first best practice is to be done is connect your bank account or the credit card that you use directly into the Zoho Books. So once it is connected, the system automatically imports your overall transactions in and every deposits, withdrawals, and the card payments that you do, or even the bank transfers that you make. So this means your bank activity appears inside the Zoho Books in the real time. Not actual real time, nearby real time.
Understood.
Still, yeah. So now reconciliation becomes a much more simpler process. So you just have to match the bank transaction with the corresponding record in the Zoho Books. So another example. So if Zoho Books shows you that you're paid 5,000, for example, for a vendor, and your bank statement also shows that 5,000 transaction, you just simply match them. Okay, and once you're matched it, the system marks the transaction as reconciled.
Okay, so as always, Zoho has a solution for this one as well. So in much more simpler terms, reconciliation is basically confirming that your account records match with your bank records, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a verification process, and it's extremely important to ensure that the financial data is accurate. So without reconciliation, you might have missing data, transactions, duplicate entries might be a possibility, or even the main problem, the incorrect balance. Okay, Zoho Books also support different accounting methods also, such as cash-based accounting and accrual-based accounting.
Okay.
So in cash-based accounting, what happens is transactions are recorded only when money actually moves. Okay, and in accrual accounting, transactions are basically recorded when they occur, even if payment is happening later. So many businesses start with the cash accounting and later move to the accrual accounting as they grow. So especially when the tax reporting requires it. So that's the main important thing we have to think. So Zoho Books support both, which gives business flexibility as they grow.
Okay, that's interesting. But here's a question many business owners worry about. I can say not just business owners, everyone who's dealing with financial data can relate to it. So how do we make sure that no one inside the organization accidentally or even intentionally messes with the financial data?
Okay, so we do have options for that, of course. As we told, we have solutions for everything. So that's where we come up with the roles and the permissions.
Okay.
So it is very important in that situation if you see. So think about it like this: not everyone in your company should have the access to everything. Okay.
True.
Yeah. So if a salesperson might only need the access of invoice and customer records, and maybe the project team member might only need a log time sheet, and your finance team might handle your bills and payments and other reports. And the Zoho Books allows you to create a custom roles to different types of users. For instance, you might create roles like salesperson and maybe timesheet staff, accountant, finance manager. So each role, if you see in that way, has specific permissions that can be provided. So what they can view, what they can create, and what they can edit or delete. So because of this, the prevention of situations, as you told, is going to be very less, and the full access, giving everybody a full access is actually, as you told, is pretty risky.
Okay, so another solution from Zoho Books as well?
Yeah, correct. So without roles and permissions, anyone could actually modify the financial records. Another powerful feature which I would like to mention now is the transaction locking. So let's say basically you choose your Zoho book for the month of March. You can lock all transactions for that period. So once it is locked, no one can edit or delete those records unless they have special administrative permission. Okay, this actually protect your overall financial report and ensure that historical data remains accurate without any problems.
Okay, that's very reassuring. So now let's talk about something everyone loves, automation. Because let's be honest, nobody enjoys repetitive manual tasks.
True.
So what kind of automation options does Zoho Books provide?
Yeah, so Zoho Books do actually provide workflow rules actually, which is actually allows you to automate actions based on the specific triggers that you make. Imagine your company has a rule that any quote above, for example, $10,000, let's say, needs to be having a manager approval.
Okay.
You can create a workflow that automatically sends an email alert to the manager whenever a quote exceeds that amount. So this example could be sending, for like example, if you consider sending a payment reminder to customers before an invoice due date. That's a kind of example that you can see. And instead of manually following up Zoho Books, you can automatically send reminders and schedule the intervals of it. So this reduces the manual effort and improves the operation pretty efficiently.
Okay, that already sounds so powerful. As I mentioned, I already went through Zoho Books before this, so let me throw a few technical terms that I haven't understood.
Okay.
So I've also heard about this something called Deluge. So what exactly is it?
Deluge is Zoho's custom scripting language, I could say.
Okay.
While workflow rules are hand-based automations, Deluge allows you to build advanced logic and custom workflows. If suppose you want a system where a customer pays an invoice above a certain value and automatically update a CRM field in it, send a notification to the sales team, or maybe a trigger a follow-up task. So Deluge scripts allows you to create these complex workflows across multiple Zoho apps. So if your business uses Zoho CRM, or maybe Zoho's inventory or Zoho Analytics, along with Zoho Books, you can build powerful automation across entire ecosystem itself here.
Okay, that's impressive. It sounds like Zoho Books isn't just an accounting software as everyone thinks. It's pretty much bigger operational system is what I would say.
Yeah, and that is correct. And the ecosystem approach is one of the biggest strength, I would say, because now let's talk about another one of the feature also. It's that many businesses find extremely useful. That is actually portals.
Okay. I was curious about that one especially because it sounds like customers and vendors can actually access a part of your system.
Yes, correct. So the customer portal allows you, your clients, to log in and see their invoice payment history, outstanding balance. Instead of emailing you multiple times about invoices repeatedly or answering questions like, can you resend the invoice, or the customer can simply log in and view everything themselves.
Okay.
They can even make payment directly through the portal if payment gateways are integrated, that you have to keep in mind. Okay. On the other hand, the vendor portal, if you see, gives supplier visibility into the purchase orders. So all the orders that you have sent, so all the invoices that you have sent them. So this reduces the email communication and improves the transparency between the businessman and the vendor.
So let's say all these integrations were done perfectly from someone like who's expert in doing it.
Okay.
So essentially these portals reduce communication friction between the vendors and the customers.
100%. They make the financial interaction much more smoother for both the sides, which save a lot of time. And one other thing which I had to talk about is the mobile application, because as you know, modern businesses rarely sits at a desk all day. They do run around and they need
Understood.
yeah. So Zoho Books has a very powerful mobile application also that allows you to manage finance on the go. So even if you're visiting some client, even then you can still go through the details. So from your phone you can view a dashboard showing total receivable and payables. So you can create invoices instantly, record expenses right after making a purchase itself, and you can track project time and billable hours, receive notification for payments and overdue invoices. So I can keep going on to that. Yeah, so this basically means that you don't have to wait until you're back on your laptop or your office or your desk to handle the further financial tasks. So for many entrepreneurs, I could say that this mobile app becomes one of the primary way of monitoring their business, how it performs daily.
Okay, that's incredibly convenient, especially for those founders or any freelancers who are constantly moving between meetings, clients and projects and everyone.
Yeah.
So Jerry, that has been such an insightful conversation. We have covered the entire backside of business finance, from vendors and purchase orders to bills, banking, automation, portals, as you mentioned, many more, including the mobile app as well. It really shows how Zoho Books brings everything together into one structured system.
Okay, so that is 100% correct. And the main key takeaway I would say for anyone who is starting Zoho Books at this point is that you don't have to use every features on the immediate basis itself. So start with the basics, okay, like customer invoices, expenses and banking. As your business grows, you can gradually explore the other features like automation, workflow, portals and the integration. The platform is designed to grow with your business. That's what you have to keep in mind.
That's a great advice, Jerry, and thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today.
Always a pleasure about it.
Thank you so much, and thank you to the listeners, and thanks to everyone listening. And we hope this episode gave you understanding of how Zoho Books can help you manage the financial backbone of your business, and we'll see you in the next episode. And Zentegra is providing 15 days of free Zoho Books trial. Link is in the description, and we'll see you in the next episode.